This is the Sales Babble Podcast, episode 250, How to Grow 10,000 LinkedIn Connections, an interview with Jess Tiffany.
Welcome to Sales Babble, the podcast that shares selling secrets for non-sellers. And now your host, Pat Helmers.
Hello, Sales Babblers. This is Pat Helmers. And today we meet Jess Tiffany. He's a public speaker and author of the book, Growth Hacking, Strategically Grow Your Business Connections from 0 to 10,000 in 365 days. Jess has got himself over 18,000 connections, and he leverages those connections daily to grow his digital marketing agency, his book sales, and speaking engagements. But now get this, he grew nearly half of those in just 1 year. In this episode, Jess going to share the process that he uses for growing those connections with practical advice and how you can take action. So, with no further ado, let's get to it. Welcome, Jess. Are you ready to babble?
I am.
Jess, you've got a new book out. I think it just came out in September, right? On LinkedIn?
Yes, that's correct. Very excited about it. Basically, it's called strategically. It's actually called Growth Hacking. Strategically grow your business network from 0 to 10,000 connections in 365 days.
Wow, that's pretty fast. So, why did you write this book? What was the impetus for this book?
Well, I didn't actually intend to be a LinkedIn geek or guru or nerd or whatever you want to call it, but kind of happened through just building my business. I have an online business education portal as well as a digital agency, and through the process of building that and growing that, just got very proficient at LinkedIn. Found that it can be built very effectively and strategically versus just kind of, randomly connecting with, whoever happens to come along your way.
But hasn't there been a million other books already written on this? Why did you feel like you needed to write a book on this?
That's a great question. There is a lot, and I guess the difference, what I found is a lot of people kind of said, stick to your, top 250 to 500 people and kind of just be their buddies and grow. And I went kind of beyond that and kind of said, well, I'm paying money for, Google ads and Facebook ads and all these different things for people. Why not build a passive network where I can just basically build relationships over a long period of time with the ideal people that I want to be connected to specifically.
And LinkedIn's allowed you to do that?
Yes. So basically, over the course of a year, I was able to connect with well over 3,000 C-level executives. I think there was 50 or 60 New York Times best-selling authors and a lot of names that people would recognize. I even went as far as having a contractor make a list of the Fortune 500 executives and find all their social profiles for me, and then I just proactively connected with those people. So
that's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I just taught a class on LinkedIn last week at my Makerspace.
You said something about that.
And I had people saying this to me all the time. They're like, why would I want to connect with all these people? I don't know who these people are. When people connect to me, I never connect with them. They might be selling me something. And there was this this hanging fear of I don't want these people to know who I am.
And that's a pushback I hear a lot as well. So it kind of gets back to, why are you on LinkedIn? What's your long-term purpose? Are you there just to, mingle with your couple best buddies, or are you trying to build a company? And if you're trying to build a company, then I suggest, I don't promote connecting just anybody and everybody. What I promote is basically, who are your ideal clients? Who are your dream clients, your dream mentors? Who are your current customers, people that you think will be your employers your employees in 5 to 10 years? So if you have a business plan, you kind of have an outlook of where you want to go. And so what you want to do is build that network prior to actually needing that. And the same thing goes with what they talk about with jobs. And actually, I think I listened to one of your podcasts recently, and they talked about that. But if you have your resume or your CV or whatever on there, you want to build it while you don't need it. So you want to build those relationships, those connections, and just continually, expand that and find the people that will benefit you and you will benefit them, and create mutual relationships.
That sounds great. I've got like 2,400 people in my and it's taken me like 10 plus years probably to connect that. How did you get to over 3,000 in a year?
Yeah, well, I actually did over 10,000 in a year, but
What?
I'm at about I'm about at 18,000 connections right now. So, so basically, what I did is I was deliberate. I basically set out invites, multiple invites regularly. The thing is, you want to do is you want to personalize your messages to increase the rate, and you also want to make sure your profile stands out. That's kind of a huge thing. Is you need to look the part of what you're trying to build. So you want to have like professional photography, and you want to have good basically it's search engine optimization. So you want people of high caliber to want to find you, and then when they see your invite and they look at your profile, they're like, yeah, I can see there could be value here. So that's kind of what we teach, is to find that value. And build those relationships, but yeah, it's consistency. You send out 10, 20, 30 invites a day to the people that you want to connect to, and do that religiously, and over time people will start connecting to you.
Okay, now you said you personalize when you reach out to people. What would be an example of that?
Typically what you want to do is answer a couple questions. Why you want to connect, what your what your purpose is of connecting, that sort of thing. And so basically I usually say something like, I use the magic word. I say open to connect. For some reason, when you use the word open to connect, people are more willing to receive that, versus if you say love to connect or want to connect, then it's about you. Whereas if you say open, it's about them making the decision whether they want to connect to you. So typically I'll say something like open to connect with other top business professionals. And then I'll say looking to learn, network, and hopefully collaborate in the future. Let me know if I can ever be of service to you. Jess, Tiffany, CEO, Marketing and Networking University. And then I hit send. And of course, I copy paste most of that, and then I just personalize the first sentence of who or why, or if they happen to be, like I saw on your profile, you did some time in Boy Scouts, so I would say, hey, I was a Life Scout in Boy Scouts, I loved it. I'm open to connect with other people that were in that. And then tie that into, so it doesn't have to be related to.
I would definitely
if you went to a
connect with
certain
you
school.
if you said something like that. and same thing's true with anything. If somebody on there saw like, oh, you went to SIU, oh, jeez, I absolutely want to click with them, right?
Yep, that's right. So yeah, if you can personalize it, that makes all the difference, because LinkedIn does limit you. So if you send out, I think it's 2,000 invites that come back as either I don't know you or just pending, they block you for a while. And I did I've experienced LinkedIn jail before, so I try to stay out of that. But if you can personalize it, then the percentage of the people connecting to you goes way up. And then if you look the part, your percentage goes way up as well.
Do you have any idea what that percentage is, and how many is too many? Or is that a secret? People just don't know.
Yeah. I didn't keep track of that as much as I should have, as I did it. Now, looking back, I would have kept track better. But I would say about 30% or more for me is pretty good. But I'm also trying to connect to people that their name a lot of times. That's more my target market.
I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying that one out of 3 people you'd reach out to would connect with you.
Maybe not quite that good. I'd have to actually quantify that, but I don't. So I do a lot of connecting, like when I'm sitting at a airport waiting for flight. I'm sitting on my phone typing in messages and copying, pasting and stuff. So I don't really keep track of the exact numbers typically, but I do see the accrual of the numbers and as well as the connections. And the big thing is really, at the end of the day, it gets down to relationships. If you have 18,000 connections and that doesn't really do me any good if I'm not making progress or having conversations with people. So really, that's what's more important. But the point is, I have a network that when I need those people or I want to talk to those people, they're there. They've already seen my content maybe 5, 10, 100 million times, whatever it is over the course of a period of time. And I want that warm relationship to be built and nurtured over time, so that when I contact them, it's not as cold. So it just works really great. I've had so many successes with that. It's pretty uncanny. So in fact, the way I met you is there's a pretty popular podcaster, Dennis Brown, that I was on his post commenting and making kind of jokes, and then you made a joke, and then we started talking, and then got on the phone, and so
yeah, I think I was teasing you, but I don't remember what I was.
You were teasing me.
I didn't even know you. I don't know why. But
no,
you seemed like I could poke at you. You seemed like a good guy.
Yeah, you're poking the bear, and So, but that's happened. That's happened many times, and there's a famous gentleman that speaks. He gets paid, $5 to $10,000 per talk, and we've just had conversations on the phone randomly a couple times over the last 6 months, just because we ended up connecting on LinkedIn and kind of I liked his post and shared a few of his posts, and we've kind of became friends now. So just things like that happen a lot when you start having a lot of people in your network, plus your posts are seen by more people. And what a lot of people don't realize is I might have like a dream client that I'm communicating with, and I'm posting stuff, and I might share something on, that I tag them on, and then some other person that I've never even heard of that has $2 billion laying around in their bank account sees my post on that guy, about that guy that he already knows, that he trusts and likes, and now I instantly have credibility because I'm communicating with that person. So just by association with other dream clients, dream mentors, that sort of thing, people come to you that you just would never expect randomly through LinkedIn.
Okay, so this is a couple of other things that are important there that we're kind of dancing around, but I want to be really explicit.
Yeah. You
need to be posting, and you need to be commenting on other people's posts in order to make this work, right?
Yes. What I do, just connecting to, like somebody in my industry or locally, it's not that big of a deal. But when I'm trying to connect to, say, I don't know, let's say Bill Gates, I'm not connected to him, but let's just say his name for random. So for him, I'm not going to just randomly just send him an invite because he's like, who the hell are you? But if I see his posts and I start liking his posts, commenting on his posts, kind of building that trust over time. Now, in Bill Gates' case, probably he has somebody doing his LinkedIn for him, so it's not quite as practical possibly for him. But let's just say some guy that's 2 levels below that, or whatever that is. That guy's actually probably on his LinkedIn, doing his LinkedIn, and by being annoyingly in front of him all the time, liking everything, commenting, posting, all that stuff, and then sharing his stuff too. So I'll go to my own 18,000 connections, share their post, and now they're getting momentum in their business through what I've shared. So I'm kind of like doing them a favor and expanding their company without being asked to do so. So if you can do something nice or something free to help promote that person, eventually they notice, and then that's when you make that reach out, and then a lot of times you'll make that connection.
So maybe you could share us some stories. How have you been able to convert this into business? And you don't have to share names.
Yeah. Well, I would say a lot of it's more opportunities, but I've had several several startup founders come to me because I've commented on some other startups comments and things like that, and making business suggestions or say, hey, have you thought about this? This might increase your sales. Giving away free advice is always beneficial to your brand. People appreciate that, and then there's kind of a spirit of reciprocity. So I've had several clients come to me that way. One time, this is kind of a weird story, but there was one of the big companies that was having all kinds of technical issues, and the tech support wouldn't work with me, and they were actually going to block my website and something because somehow my server was downloading pictures or videos into the server, and I was messing up their servers, or I don't know what was happening. And I was in between web guys, so I couldn't go ask somebody because I had kind of terminated a relationship with somebody. But anyway, I ended up reaching out to the CEO of that company because I was connected to him on LinkedIn. And he didn't reach out back directly, but 2 days later, the office of the CEO called, and we worked through that issue. Just little things like that continually happen. A couple joint ventures that I've set up for my book and promoting my book are with influencers that have, 200, 500,000 people on Twitter and different things like that. But I've met them through LinkedIn because what I find is a lot of those big influencers on the other platforms aren't very big on LinkedIn. And so all of a sudden I'm in a shorter queue, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So I'm able to get to those. And then I've had them actually share my stuff out with their, hundreds of thousands of people to promote the book, which helped because I made international best-selling author within the day of the launch on Amazon. So, but those people sharing have made the difference there. And then, in fact, my publicist was a referral I met that was local here in Minneapolis, where I live. Hadn't met her ever in person, still to this day, but she referred me to another lady in Florida that has this. It's called Link to Expert, but anyway, it's kind of a big conglomerations of experts. And then she introduced me to a publicist, which is the lady that helped me promote my book and get it to the bestseller status. So it's building, all these second, third, fourth degree connections by building relationships within your first degree.
This all sounds like so much work, though. I would think a lot of people listening to this would think that, because that's kind of the feedback that I got last week was this all looks so much work. You yourself said that you were like, yeah, every free moment I have in the airport, I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I do put a lot of time in, but it's all relative. So I went from, I did over 10,000 connections and built relationships and all that stuff over the course of a year, which I would argue is fairly quick. But also, but the time thing. So what if you did half of that? What if you did a quarter of that? How would that affect your business? What if you were, what if you showed up 100 times more per week in the search terms on LinkedIn? How would that affect your business? So it's really relative onto what you want out of it. I had massive goals that I wanted to achieve and grow, so I worked a little harder. But at the end of the day, what you put in is what you get out on anything. But what I'm saying is leverage the relationships you have, add new people strategically based on what you want to do, and then that can help you grow your business. And we obviously, have a done-for-you service to help people with that, of course, too. But it's relative to the time you're willing. But if you do 10 invites a day, spend 10 minutes liking and adding a post. So maybe spend 20 minutes a day. You're definitely going to see, you might not get 10,000 connections, but you're definitely going to see hundreds of new connections over the course of a year, which will add up. And then again, if you build relationships with those people, and I'm targeting high-level people trying to build relationships. All that posting stuff I was talking about kind of goes out the window when you're talking about, connecting to the neighbor down the street, or you're connecting to the local businessman down the street. Because all I do is basically send them an invite and say, hey, I see you're a local Minneapolis business owner as well. Love to, open to connect with other business owners locally. How can we help each other? and then that's all you send to them. And because you are local, you have that bond kind of a little bit already, and you can build those relationships much quicker. So it's just relative to who you're targeting, you know.
So if you could give the listeners one piece of advice they could take action on this week, what would that be?
You know, start doing something. Get on LinkedIn, invite a few people, look at their profile, see where you have commonalities. The other thing is use the search tool. Search for people that went to your college, your school, your church group, your whatever it is. Find people that have things you have common with them already, and just reach out to those people to start with, because that's kind of low hanging fruit. They've already got a pre-relationship based on the things you're interested in mutually. So, but I'll tell you a quick tip if you're out in person networking. If you have your LinkedIn app, if you look at the search box on there, there's a little funny looking square there. And if you click that, it brings up a QR code.
Yeah.
And
I've never used that. I've seen it.
Yeah, but when you're out networking, if say you forgot your business card or something, at least you look like a genius, because 90% of the people don't know about it. And then, like the other day, I was speaking for a few minutes at a event down in Orlando, Florida, and I pulled out my phone and I literally said, okay, take out your phone, and I said, click here, click here, click here, and then push this what's called Find Nearby button, and everybody in the room clicked it. I shouldn't say everybody, about 75% of the people clicked on it. And then I was able to connect with every single one of them right there within, a minute conversation.
Yeah, I've seen that too. That's an interesting tool. Find Nearby. Yeah.
Yeah, it just most people don't know it's there. And then when you go up there and you say that, you look like a rock star and everybody thinks you're amazing.
Yeah.
So
what's the name of your book again?
So it's growth hacking, which is kind of a type of marketing. Strategically grow your business network from 0 to 10,000 connections in 365 days. And so I do have like a LinkedIn cheat sheet if anybody ever wants it. That's something I suppose they could grab. It's free. So it's mnudigital.com and then /LinkedIn-marketing-cheat-sheet. So mnudigital.com, LinkedIn marketing cheat sheet.
You sent that link to me, and I'll make sure and post that in the show notes.
That gives some good little tips there people can use. But the big thing is get out there and start, do something. There's and I know you have like a WhatsApp group that shares stuff that I was listening to on the podcast.
Yep.
So I'd say I tell your listeners, get involved in stuff like that. Those little groups work. You got to be a little careful if you do it through a LinkedIn group, because LinkedIn's kind of been cracking down on kind of the link promoting thing. But if you're doing it through WhatsApp or some other third party, then you should be fine. But it's good. It's a good way to get some action on your posts, and that's a good tip too. If you go in and actually thank everybody for liking your post, you'll get 5, 10, 15, 20 additional comments counted, even though they're technically yours. But it will keep your post moving and gaining momentum.
It's pretty cool how that works. It is.
Yeah.
Jess, thanks for visiting us here in Sales Babble. I really appreciate it.
I enjoyed it very much. Hope we get to chat again.
So before you go and take action on this, I would like you to answer this question. Why are you on LinkedIn? If you're trying to keep up on friends and past colleagues, that's all well and good. But if you're trying to build a business, you're going to need a different approach. Consider the people you wish you knew. Who are your ideal clients? Who are your dream mentors? Possible employers, people you might want to work for, or possible hires, people that you want to meet in the future. Now is the time to take action. Build it before you need it. To get the handout that Jess mentioned, go to www.salesbabble.com/250, and you can get a copy of the show notes. And while you're there on the home page, got a question, you got a comment, click the Babble Me button. and I'd be more than happy to answer every and any question you may have. Also, too, there is our back catalog, all the archives to past Sales Babble podcasts. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we're at episode 250. There's 250 of those puppies out there for you to give a listen to. Well, folks, that's all I've got for today. Until next week, take care and have a highly successful and profitable selling day.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babble podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.